Hi to you, wherever you are watching me from. Welcome to my channel, Divine Fashion Clothing, and this is a tutorial for Carah Bag pattern. The pattern comes in 3 sizes: small size, medium size, and big size. The bag is a unique design for unique people, a bag perfect for every outfit and outing. The bag comes with 3 compartment zip, back zipper pockets, slit pockets, and inner zipper pockets. A big thanks to my tester team for their commitment and their time to make sure that the pattern was well tested and come alive. This is their beautiful work. My tester, they are lovely people. They make my heart glad always. They make my heart smile. Come along with me as the tutorial begins. We start with our back zipper pocket. I place one back zipper pocket lining right side up, and I placed the zipper tape right side up on it, and I clip and I will sew at the top edge with 1/4 seam allowance. I have sewed at the top edge with 1/4 seam allowance. Now I place the second back zipper pocket right side up, and I place the other edge of the zipper tape on it right side up. I clip and I will sew with 1/4 seam allowance. I have sewed with 1/4 seam allowance. On the wrong side of the pocket lining, I open away and hold down the edges of the zipper tape with double-sided tape right side up, and the pocket lining is wrong side, and I place the back panel zipper pocket hole over the zipper right side up and center. Sew with 1/8 seam allowance on the zipper window. I flip the piece to the wrong side, match the lining together, and I will sew on one side to the bottom and to the other side with 1/4 seam allowance. I have sewed with 1/4 seam allowance from the 2 sides and to the bottom, and I trim off the excess at the bottom of the lining. Cut out the excess at the bottom of the lining. Our back zipper pocket is ready, and we now set aside. As you can see, it's neat, and we will set aside. Our back zipper pocket is done, and we set aside. On the wrong side of the front upper panels, at the bottom edge, I mark out a line of 3/8 at the bottom edge of the front upper panel, and on the right side of my front lower panel, at the top edge, I'll place the bottom edges of the front upper panel right side together. I place right sides together, and I will sew on the line that I've marked. I have sewed on the line that I've marked. Now we have our front panel. On the wrong side of the piece, I turn the raw edges to the lower panel, and I will turn to the right side, and I will top stitch on the lower panel with 1/4 seam allowance. Now I take my base panel. On the wrong side of my base panel, I mark out a line of 3/8 at the long two sides of my base panel, and I turn to the right side. I align the bottom edges of the front panel to the edges of the base panel, right side together, and I will sew on the line that I have marked on the base panel, which is my seam allowance 3/8. And on the wrong side of the piece, I will turn the seam edges toward the base panel, and I will hold with clip. You can use double-sided tape to hold the edges down, and I will top stitch on the right side on the base panel. I will top stitch on the base panel on the right side of the piece. I have repeated the same thing to the back panel. I have sewed my back panel to the edges of the base panel. As you can see, I will turn this seam edges towards the base panel again. I clip, and I will sew on the base panel on the right side of the piece with 1/4 seam allowance. On the wrong side of the piece, I mark a line of 3/4 around the panel, and on the joining seam, I cut out a little bit of fabrics so that place will not be bulky to sew to the side panel. I cut out a little bit of excess fabric to reduce the bulky area of the joining. I cut out on the two sides of the panel. On the wrong side of the piece again, I added my glue to the mark line. You can add double-sided tape. You can use double-sided tape instead of glue, and I'll fold around the panel, and I'll fold in the edges to meet the mark line around the panel. And I will cut out the area that poke out when folding. I will trim off the area that poke out on the two edges. On the wrong side of my base panel, I added glue to the base panel, and I press in place my foam interfacing. The foam interfacing is optional. You can decide not to use foam interfacing. Now on the right side of the exterior, I place my base pattern piece and I mark the placement for the back feet. I mark out the placement for the back feet on the base panel on the right side of the exterior. On the wrong side of the piece, I cover the prong of the back feet with pieces of exterior. You can use duct tape or interfacing to cover the prong. It will make the bottom of the bag to last long. Now I will set aside the exterior. Now on the wrong side of my side connector panel, I mark out the line of 3/4 round the panel by the side, and I added my glue to the mark line, and I will fold in the side edges to meet the line mark. The folding will be 3/8. The top of the connector panels will not be folded. Now I slide in the D-ring through the top edge of the side connector panel, and I fold at 1/2. I fold at 1/2 and I clip and I also do the same thing to the second side connector panel. And on the wrong side of the side connector panel, I snip corner so it lay flat. I snip the corner that poke out so it will be lay flat. I cut out. Now take the two side panel, transfer the triangle shape on the pattern piece E to the wrong side of the panel at the bottom with erasable marking pen, and I fold right side together. Make sure that the triangle line marked align at the bottom edge, and hold with clip, You will do the same thing for the second panel, and I will sew on the triangle line marked, and I cut out a little bit so that place will not be bulky when sewing to the side panel. I will cut out and make sure it lay flat. That place will not be bulky. And on the wrong side of the panel, I mark out a line of 3/4 around the panel. Line of 3/4 on the two sides of the panel, and I press in place my interfacing. To the side panel. The interfacing will be at the center of the mark line. Now I have added my glue to the mark line. You can use double-sided tape. You can add double-sided tape to the mark line, and I will fold in at the top edges to meet the interfacing. I will fold around the side panel. Now on the right side of the side panel, I transfer the side connector placement to the side panel, and I place the side connector on the line mark. The top of the side connector panel should be on the line mark, and you sew around the side connector together with the side panel. Now I will take my panel, my stereo, and I'll fold in two to get the center at the base. Panel, I fold into two equal parts to get the center at the base panel. On the right side, I'll also do the same thing for the side connector panel. I'll make sure I get the center of the side connector panel. Now I will align the center I have marked on the base panel on the piece, and the center I have marked on the side panel to align. I will start from the center to the corner and to the two sides. I will repeat the same step to the other side of the exterior and the side panel, and I will hold with clip. Now I have sewed the side panel to the exterior with 1/14 allowance or 1/18 allowance. And I will set that aside for now. On the wrong side of my front strap design, I mark a line. I mark a center line down to the length of my strap design. I added glue to the wrong side of the front strap design, and also fold 1/4 in at the short two edge of the strap, and I fold the center wrong side together and I clip in place. You can use double-sided tape or glue to fold each long raw edges into the center of the front strap design. I fold in half again. The strap now should be 3/4. I fold in half again. I fold the strap into equal parts, and I clip. Now I top stitch on the both long edges of the strap with 1/8 seam allowance. I top stitch on the both long edges of the strap design with 1/8 seam allowance, and I'll fold into 2 equal parts to get the center of the strap design. I use erasable marking pen to mark the center of the front strap design. And I will take my lock. On the right side of the panel. I place the lock, the female part, at the center of the panel, and I mark out the lock opening to the panel with erasable marking pen. Now I remove the lock and I created, and I'm trying to create the opening on the lock to the panel by using punch plier, or you can use punch and press for rivets to create the opening, on the panel. Now I have created the opening on the panel, and I have also add my lock to the you can see how beautiful it is. You can see how beautiful and neat it is. Now I will set this aside. And I've already added my interfacing to my exterior. I have added my 3 interfacing, the base panel, the back and front interfacing to the exterior. I have added my interfacing to the exterior. On the right side of the exterior, I transfer the bridge connectors placement on the pattern piece A to the front upper panel with erasable marking pen. And I center the bridge connector at the placement mark. I centered the bridge connector at the placement mark. On the right side of the exterior at the front, I thread each end of the front strap design through each bridge connector on the right side of the front upper panel. Make sure that the lock is at the center. The lock will be at the center. And on the back panel, align the strap edges. Allow the strap end to the edges of the zipper pockets on each side. And I use punch plier to create an O for the rivets. And I added the rivets. I'll also do the same thing to the other side. Now I will add the rivet to the hole that I have created at the back panel on the straps design on the two sides of the exterior. And I will punch and press to hold down the rivets to the exterior. Now I will take my punch and press for rivets to hold down the rivets, down, to press the rivets down. On the front upper panel, I attach the lock male part to the panel by using the lock female part as guide. I attach the other lock, which is the male part to the front upper panel by using the female part as guide. Now the exterior is ready. We are going to set aside now. The next thing to do is to take one main lining right side up and place the zipper overlay right side up in the center. Make sure that you get the center of your lining. Make a notch, and on the right side place your zipper overlay in the center. Make sure you get the center of the zipper overlay too, and leaving a space of 1 inch space at the top edge. Leaving 1 inch space at the top edge, and you sew around the outside with 1/8 seam allowance. You sewed around with outside with 1/8 seam allowance. And now use this overlay opening to cut the opening in the lining. Cut out the opening in the lining through the zipper overlay opening. Now I placed one zipper pocket lining right side up, and I placed the zipper tip right side up on top of it, and I made sure the top edge match, and I sew with 1/4 seam allowance at the top edge. I place the remaining other lining right side up, and I place the other edge of the zipper tip on it right side up. I clip and I will sew at the top edge with 1/4 seam allowance. Now on the wrong side of the pocket lining, I open away from the zipper tip. You can hold the edges down with double-sided tape. The zipper is right side up and the pocket lining will be wrong side up. I make sure I get the center of the pocket lining. And I place the zipper overlay pocket opening over the zipper right side up and centered, and I keep the pocket piece open. And I will sew on the window, and I sew on the window with 1/8 seam allowance. I sew on the window of the zipper pocket with 1/8 seam allowance. I flipped the main lining to the wrong side, match the pocket lining together, and sew the pocket lining from one side to the bottom, across to the other side and up with 1/4 seam allowance. And I trim off the excess as needed. I trim off the extra as needed at the bottom edge. Now I take my slit pocket and fold it top to bottom, right side together, and I sew on the two sides with 1/4 seam allowance. I sew on the two sides with 1/4 seam allowance, and I turn to the right side and turn it to the right side. I flip the slip to the right side and place the slip binding, and I place this slip binding on the top of the pocket. I place the slip binding on the top of the pocket, wrong side up. I clip and I sew with 1/4 seam allowance. I clip and I sew with 1/4 seam allowance. Now I fold the binding over to the raw edges. I fold the binding over to the raw edges, and I top stitch along the seams. I top stitch along the seam on the right side of the slip binding. I fold the binding over the raw edges and top stitch along the seam on the right side of the slip binding. And I cut off extra. On the binding. I cut off the extra on the binding. Now I place the remaining other main lining piece right side up. I try to get the center. I notch the center of the lining and I place it down right side up and place the slip pocket right side up on the center of the lining. I try to get the center of the slip pocket and I place it on the center of the lining, and I leave a space of 1 inch at the top of the lining. I leave a space of 1 inch at the top of the lining, and I will sew on the side to the bottom and to the other side with 1/4 seam allowance. Now the main zipper pocket. I took my main zipper tip and I separate the zipper tip into two, and I pinch the zipper tip. I pinch the zipper tip at 1 inch. I pinch the zipper tip at 1 inch, and I fold it at 90 degree. I fold it at 90 degree, and I burn it using lighter. On the folded edge. I also repeat the same thing for the other zipper tip. Now I take my 2 exterior for zipper plisket piece and the 2 lining, and I mark a line of 1/2 in on the wrong side of one short edge of the 4 pliskets, and I added my glue. You can use double-sided tape. You can add double-sided tape to the mark line, and you fold in to meet the mark line. You fold in the edges to meet the mark line of the 4 zipper pliskets. And I place one zipper plisket panel right side up. The folding will be down, and on the right side, place one zipper tape right side up on it. The folded end of the zipper will be on the left side and just inside the end, and place one zipper plisket exterior wrong side up on the zipper tape, and you clip and you sew at the top edge with 1/4 seam allowance. The folded edges should be lined up, and you sew with 1/4 seam allowance. Pull the zipper out, and I pull the zipper out and open, so the zipper pliskets are right side out, and I will top stitch. I try to cut out that place so that that place will not be bulky, will not be difficult to sew, and I will top stitch from the short end top to bottom with 1/8 seam allowance. I clip and I top stitch with 1/8 seam allowance from the short end top to the bottom. Now I repeat the same step for the other zipper tape and the 2 main zipper pliskets that remain. I repeat the steps for the other zipper tape and the other main zipper pliskets. On the wrong side of my 2 handles, I mark a center line down the length of the strap, and I added the glue to the wrong side, and I fold in each edges to the center. Down to the length of the main handle strap. Now I fold in half again. I fold into 2 equal parts. I fold in half again. If you are using tube pipe, you are going to stop stitch the side with the 2 fold. You are only going to stop stitch the side with the 2 fold. But if you are not using tube pipe, you are going to top stitch on the 2 side of the strap. If you are using pipe, you will top stitch only the side with the 2 fold and you insert your piping tube. But if you are not using pipe, you are going to top stitch on the 2 side of the strap. The piping tube is optional. I top stitch on the 2 side of the handle strap because I am not using pipe. On the wrong side of my upper lining, the 2 upper lining, I mark a line of 3/4 at the top edge. The short length at the top edge. I added my glue to the mark line and I fold in the top edges to meet the mark line. You can use double-sided tape to fold in the line to meet the mark line. Now I notch the center of the upper lining. I fold in the upper line and I notch the center of the upper lining to get the middle. I notch the middle of the upper lining and I transfer my handle placement to the upper lining panel. I transfer the handle placement on my pattern piece to the upper lining panel. And I'll take my handle strap that I have prepared and place it outward. I align the edges to the outer edges of the marked line on the upper lining. I align the edges of the handle strap to the edges of the mark line on the upper lining. I repeat the same step for the remaining handle and the remaining upper lining. Now I notch the middle of main zipper placement and I place it at the notch area of the main lining, wrong side down, and I will sew at the top edge with 1/4 seam allowance. I repeat the same step to the remaining main zipper placement and main lining, and I will sew the two with 1/4 seam allowance at the top edge. And I take my upper lining and I align my upper lining right side together and I sew at the side with a seam allowance of 3/8 seam allowance. I sew on the side with 3/8 seam allowance. and I align my two main lining right side together, and I will sew by the two side and the bottom with 3/8 seam allowance. I will sew on the two side with 3/8 seam allowance and the bottom side with 3/8 seam allowance. And I will match the square area. I will make sure that the square area align. The center seam at the bottom and at the sides should align. And I will sew with 1/4 seam allowance. I clip and I sew with 1/4 seam allowance. Now I will take the main lining with zipper basket facing down and join center of the upper lining piece to the center of the main lining right side together. I will clip around and sew with 1/4 seam allowance. I will sew with 1/4 seam allowance around the entire lining. Now I inserted the completed lining into the completed exterior wrong side together and I hold with clip. I insert the completed lining into the completed exterior wrong side together and I hold with clip. Make sure you get the center of the side panel. Make sure you align the center of the side panel to the center of the main lining. And after you have clipped, you are going to sew around the entire bag with 1/8 seam allowance. Be sure that the zipper and the handle are out of the way while sewing. Now I have sewed at the top edge with 1/8 seam allowance, and I also added my zipper end. I've also added my zip end And now I will take my long strap, and on the wrong side I will mark a center line down the length of the strap. I use erasable marking pen to mark the center line, and I will fold the edges, the two edges to the center. I will fold in the two edges to the center. I will make sure that the two edges meet at the center. I will fold it down the length. I have folded it down the length of the strap, and I will fold in half again, and I will fold in two again. Now the strap will now be 3/8. I will fold in half again, and I will clip. Now I have top stitched the strap, my long strap, on the two sides of the strap down to the length. I will take my slider and thread one end of the strap through a slider over the center bar and pull it from the other opening. Fold the wrong side together on the top of itself. And I will use my punch plier to make a hole, to create a hole for the rivets. You can sew horizontally or stitch, or you can secure with rivets. And I will press down the rivet with my punch and press for rivets. Now I will slide my silver hook onto the strap. And thread the other end of the strap, and I will thread the other end of the strap through the slider again, covering the loop you secured before. Covering the loop that I secured before. Wrong side together. And slide the remaining silver hook onto the strap from the end. Fold the end wrong side together over itself around the silver clasps. Sew to horizontal line or stitch, or you can secure with rivets. And I will secure with rivets. I will use my punch and press to hold the rivets down. are finally done with our Carah bag. What a job well done. Our bag is ready. Thank you for watching. Happy sewing. Please don't forget to share, like and subscribe. The link to purchase the pattern is under the video. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Now we are done. Your Carah bag is ready. Congratulations. What a great job well done. The pattern to the link to the pattern will be on the video. Thank you for watching me. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. I love you.